young and old, meek and the poor. Dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. That is their song with joyful ring. All caroling, one seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, all and down, telling the tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here, merry, 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 merry Christmas, yeah.
Hey everybody, and good morning. It's a beautiful day in Aurora, Colorado. This is the Rousefamily5 2018 Christmas behind the scenes. I thought I would do that. I haven't done a behind the scenes before, but I wanted you all to get a good sense of what did I do at my display, what were some of the challenges. As I mentioned in my blog number 1, that I would be doing more of that type of videoing. Again, I'm using a cell phone. I'll improve. I'll find the right resources and tools to do better blogs. So let's talk about the display. You saw it in the opening. I have the 4 spinners on the house. I got one on the back. I call that left window. I call that right window. And I call this the garage window. And right under right window on the back there, you'll see the 4th spinner. Next year I'll have one under the address and then one here. Maybe not put one there, but definitely put one there. I think it just fills in the area more so. I am using the Lightorama trees here. They're not mega trees, but they're just the, I think this is about a 7-foot, 8-foot tree. Really worked well. This is tree number 2 here. And this one, for some reason, I couldn't get the programming just right on it. And you'll see that as you look at some of the display this year. It was off. Certain elements of it worked amazingly well, and some elements of it didn't. So during the off season, I'll spend some time investigating why that tree didn't work. When I take it downstairs to the workshop that I'm going to create, I will put box number 1 on that tree to see if it was the box, the programming, what specifically happened. What else I got going on? Had a lot of things going on. My leaping arches, some of the challenges. Channel number 1 on these trees here, these arches, didn't work. So the others worked here, and as I spin over here, so this will be channel 1 through 4, subsequent 5 through 8, and then that would be 9 through 12, and then through 16. One box controls all 16 channels. And to kind of give you a little breakdown of what that means is one box of incandescent light, 100. I have 400 on this arch here, and it is controlled by channels 1 through 4. Another 400 here, and that's channels 5 through 8, and then subsequent. So let me think here, 8. I have 1,600 incandescent lights on the leaping arches. They worked phenomenally. I normally run about 8 of the leaping arches this year because I wanted to get a show out. If you watch blog number 1, you remember I noted that I just moved in, and my wife said it was silly that I could try and get a display out. Well, I did. I was very successful at it. I ran something new this year where I did an FM transmitter. Again, I got that from the Lightorama website. You can purchase it there or some other location. My frequency was 104.7, and each of the bushes in the back, as I noted, would have a significant number of lights. I'm probably running, poor math, let me see, 400, 400, 400, 400, 400. Yeah, somewhere between 1,000 incandescent lights back on the bushes there. They'll be changed next year. They're going to be a little bit fuller, and they'll look much better. I did put the nets on them. I'll do a double netting. I just needed something more, and it came out really well. Of course, I have the reindeer next year. These guys will not be the focal point. I'll do something different, and they're going to be off in the back of the yard there. And I want to start from the back because I want to kind of walk you from the back to the front of the display. So I'm running 7 of my 9 boxes. I could not get the dumb nodes to work. I used a different box other than my entire Lightorama. I tried to use a different box other than the complete Lightorama series. of boxes, and because it wanted Ethernet, and we'll talk about that, I couldn't get it to even be acknowledged by the program. And so here I have window, I could just call it window left, door, and I call that right window. Kept it very simple. And box number 1. So traditionally, again, I just want to overemphasize that I just put a display out. I didn't go through the countless hours of electrical taping for waterproofing. You would never see a box sitting out in an element like that. It's usually in a container of some sort to waterproof it. Mine is sitting on the ground. We were very fortunate, I suppose, that we didn't get a lot of snow or moisture, and that's typical with the Colorado early winter. We don't get a lot of snow. The mountains, of course, they'll get pounded, but here in the metro area, or the urban corridor as we say, not a lot of snow. I think the display ran until it was Christmas night late that we even got about 1 or 2 inches of snow here, and then it quickly melted. Our average is 42 to 65 all winter, and as you see now today, early January, it's 65 yesterday, it'll be 56 today. We're just a high desert. So let me talk about the box and what it did. Again, I apologize, I don't have my Lottorama box numbers available. I'll get better at this. Like using my cell phone. I don't like using cell phones to do video, and I'm going to go during this off season and find what tools work best for this type of things that we're doing. Okay, so box 1. I label all my boxes, and I'll show you why that's important. It is a standard 16 channel AC. This is not on Ethernet. It's just a standard box, and it's running this 8 channel spinner here. So there are 8 arms to it. There are 800 bulbs on this spinner, 100 per strand. And for the other 8, I'm running 8 incandescent floodlights in front of the house, and I tell you, they work amazing. If you want to do something neat with your display, I would highly encourage you to put in a floodlight system like this. Today of the world, most have migrated to an LED or pixel type of a flood. You can do much more with it. This case, I just kept a standard, flood on it, and just programmed it accordingly. Let me also give you a little tip here. Normally you would never see wires just sitting out and exposed like that. They should have been electrical taped and waterproof, but again, I just wanted to get a display out. I was very fortunate that I did not get a lot of moisture, because that would have destroyed that box predominantly. So I want to be careful with that. This is what the box looks like, and it is still showing that there is power. There is a feed still going to it. I have not disconnected the display. And let me show you this here. I put a note in there, 2016, that this box, channel 6 went out on it. And that in the videos is this arm here. And I called, and they were very helpful. In fact, I may have just gone to the forum and they said, hey, move your jumper, this item here, from 5 to 6 over 1 position to 3 to 4. And then replug in the box, and that'll reboot it, turn off the box, unplug it, and then put it back to 5, 6, and that should make that arm come on. It did not. So I left a note for myself during the off season. I'll figure out what to do with that. Next, box number 2. So I was successful in hiding box number 2. I put it in the eave or soffit of the house, right by the garage here, and it was well hidden, and it was dry for the most part. Being there, just ran all my wire down, did some neat little extensions here with the extension cords to make them get down, and then here they ran. Make sure I don't tell you a story. I think they started with this 8 up here. So they ran this spinner 8 and this spinner 8, gave me a total of 16. Worked out beautifully. I did not, although it's framed and lit, and those are smart pixels, I could not get the garage on, and I'll explain that when we go around the corner. Here's the eave of the, I call it the gutter of the garage. and I only have 50 of those working. This other 50 here did not work, and I'll tell you why, because I've now found out why they don't. If you look above there, you'll see 4, I call those south bedroom windows, 1 through 4. I was only able to get 2 of those working, but I now understand why. And let me take a quick pause to explain that I've got to get into the Ethernet world, into universes. It just gives me more capacity bandwidth to run more lights on a single circuit. The way I have my show set up today, I'm running a maximum of 150 circuits. And once you exceed a circuit, it's then called carryover. It'll go to another channel. When you run Ethernet, you can go up to 512 circuits, and that'll run about 170 pixel individual bulbs. Whereas the other ones, I'm limited to, I think it's 100. So anyway, let me take you around to the other boxes. So for my trees, they are on their own box, and I'll tell you why that's important. They come with it. The trees worked amazingly. This is tree number 1. I said it's a Pixie 8 channel. Tree 1, box number 7, and that's tree 2, box number 8. So the trees I thought were the big hit. I have to learn how to reduce the intensity of it when you're when you're programming it. I couldn't, it blurs out. It's just too intense. So I'm running at 100% intensity. I need to learn how to back it down. Tree number 2 over there was kind of goofy this year. Certain elements of it, it worked fine. In certain elements that you were programming, it double looped it or something. Where if 2 pixels were on, 4 were on. I'm like, okay, I don't understand why that's happening. So again, during the off season, I'll look at that. You see my power running from my boxes that are hit behind the bushes to the arches. The arches worked really, really well. Again, some of the challenges. Channels, let me see, that will be 1 through 8 on this side. So that's channel 1 through 8. There are 4 channels per arch. I know that some do 8 channels per arch. That means that they would need 2 of the light-o-rama or whatever box they choose to use to run 4 arches. I ran 1 box of 16 channels and did 4. I typically would run 8 arches. This year I wanted to get something out again. I just ran the 4. But channel number 1 did not work, and channel number 9 did not work. All others worked fine. I'm going to investigate why that failed and what I can do for the future, because this is going to continue to grow. Next year you'll see this whole line all the way around to the end here, and same on this side will be aligned with pixels. I'm using a dumb pixel for that. I could not get that box to go because I'm running a standard site. I did not move to the Ethernet, and the box that I purchased from a different vendor wants Ethernet. That's E1.31. Okay, I wanted to show you real quickly because we're eating up a lot of time here. The boxes, again, I did not waterproof my display this year. I would never do things like this. That should be duct tape. Well, of course, duct tape or black electrical tape. And there should be a big lump of black tape around all of these connections, and none of them are waterproof. And again, I was so blessed that we didn't get any moisture. The show ran, which I was late this year, and the show ran from December 7th through, I turned it off officially last night, the 5th of January. So I ran it, so it would have been the 4th. I ran it one last time on Friday the 4th, and I ran it only for 2 hours because of the intensity, and I wanted my neighbors to get some sleep. So let's see here. Again, I was talking about the taping. I didn't tape anything, and I was very fortunate we didn't get any moisture. We got a little bit of snow on Christmas night, and that went for a day or so, but then it was right back to the 50s. Okay, real quickly, let's talk about my FM transmitter. So I added an FM transmitter. Normally I would have music piped out into the yard. I did have my boom box out here, and that worked well until it started to get a little too cold, and I said, hey, let's move it in. And so I took it out, but got in the car and the shows sound amazing from inside the car. So I run off of FM 104.7. I might continue to look for a clearer station. There's times where it's a little staticky, but being in the right position, it worked great. In fact, I was coming up the back of the neighborhood and I tuned to 104.7, and so half a block away I picked up the station and it worked really well. All right, let's talk about the boxes in the back. Again, it's going to be messy. Next year I'll get it a little bit better. So this is box number 4. Again, I labeled them. Box number 4 is box number 4. 8 channels are running these spinners here, and then 8 channels are running my floods. Notice I only have 4 of them out. There's one there and one here, so I have 12 through 16 that are not on at this point. The floods work great, but because of the intensity of the trees, the bushes, they were kind of discarded. Just, they didn't really flash or wash the house the way I want. That's why I moved this number, I don't know, let's call it whatever, number 9, closer to the house so that it would wash. Again, kind of messy back here. I typically am just a neat nut, and I would not like that. Again, these are not waterproof, but they work exceptionally well, just like box number 1 around the corner. I have my box 4 labeled here, and I'll show you why that's important. Come around this side. I have box number 3. Box number 3 is a 4-channel. It was one of my first purchases, and that ran all 4 of these bushes that you see here in front of you. Worked out really well. I can put more power. They're running about a quarter of the power that their maximum capacity. Box number 5 is running these arches here. That's the 16 channel for the 4 arches there. Worked out really, really well. Again, these boxes are water proof, air quote, but I have seen many on the YouTube stations who put their boxes in containers, and I elected not to do that. Again, it was some of it ignorance, some of it trying to get a show out, and I may do that next year because they're quite expensive, and you want to take care of your material. If you read blog 1, I mentioned do things where you get resources to purchase your Christmas display, because it is can be an expensive hobby. So don't destroy a $200 box because you're doing a Peterism, and that's what I call them. You'll notice I have pixels running along the eave under the soffit, and I call that arch number 1. And then back here, I don't know how well you see it, I have arch 2, and then next year arch 3 will be all lit. Let me show you my last box. This is the one that did all of the house, the outline of the house. This is a box number 6. Now, I want you to note all of the little blue caps where I did a lot of, boy, I don't even know how to call it, but I had to put extension wires so that the box could run here and then the product would be in other locations. This was really poorly done, and the numbering of the boxes, learning of the channels, the capacity, how much it could handle in terms of the number of pixels, I learned a lot. Let me give you an example. This channel number 16, I had to hunt and find to run L left window. Arch number 1, this one here, it exceeded the number of circuits, so it went from channel 1 to channel 2. But before I learned what channel, the maximum capacity, I had already had a window over the bedroom on channel number 2. These up here, the smaller windows. And when I ran the program, it says, hey, you're sharing with garage 1, arch 1, and one of those windows up there. I'm like, I don't understand. How's it sharing? Well, Again, when you run the Ethernet E1.31, you have a bandwidth capacity of circuits of 512. The way I had the system set up, I limited at 150. When you exceed 150, it jumps to the next channel, which in this case is a 16 channel box. I could not share channel 1 and then channel 2, plugging them in. I think you're kind of getting the concept. You'll notice that some of these aren't even connected. I really struggled with how to get these guys going, but after I got the show up, it was running. I was satisfied with what I was getting, and I said, you know what, fine, lesson learned. I'll learn more about it next year and during the off season. And I tell you, I'm just chomping at the bit to get everything off the house and get it downstairs in my office, so I can work on channels. I'm going to really work to learn Ethernet. So not a whole lot to see there. I think channel number 8 is out. Why do I say that? Because when I tried to get lights to come on 8, it wouldn't. So I'm learning, like, hey, because you cut those channels and you extended it, you put, you know, X amount of feet on them, maybe that was part of the problem. I don't know, but I am going to spend a lot of time researching. So again, that is the Rousefamily5 display. I'm going to take you into the garage and I want to show you my channel configuration and trying to think, is there anything that's important? I ran my Cat 5 cables along the back side of the house from the garage. I was surprised that they were fitting neatly under the door, no pinching, and ran them out here and it worked just fine. And let's go into the garage. Okay, so we're in the garage. Let's see if I can't get this working. And all right, so this is how I left my my programming every night. Here is my radio transmitter. It is set to FM 107. Just plugged it right into the ear jack or the headphone jack of the computer. I am going to replace this computer. I've had it for the shows for probably 6 years now, and it kept my computer doesn't have an antivirus on it or other things, so it is it reboots itself a lot. There were times I come home, why the lights are not on? I come to the computer and sure enough, it rebooted itself. During the off season, we're going to talk a lot about this product. I intend to continue to run a Lightorama product, but down here, don't know how well you can see them, is my control panel, and right here, these two, Pixel Editor, Sequence Editor. I want to quickly go to the Sequence Editor because I want to talk about circuits. Grab my mouse here and click on that. Here's how Mr. Funnyman deleted the show. Maybe I need to double click. So when I was opening my show, which it said at the time, I had that listed as practice, you know, learning Pixels 2018, and that was a mistake. Well, the mistake was I changed it to Rousefamily5 Light 2018 Light Show. So it says, you know, open. Let me. So I opened the one that said practice, and then when I was content with what I had come up with, I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just save some of the work. Went up here, clicked save, and I did a file which I thought was right. No, I was trying to open it because I had closed the show, and right here this little box came open, and I said, you know what, I'm going to right click it and I'm going to rename it. And so when I did that, trying to emulate or duplicate what I did, I changed over to this Rousefamily5 2018, and when it did that and I clicked OK, after I spent 4 or 5 hours cleaning up the site, when I opened it again, everything was gone. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I can't believe 2 days before Christmas I deleted my show. So the sequence editor and the pixel editor communicate to each other. You cannot run a show. Now let me show you that I'm on a Pro series right here, sequence editor 4.3.18. If you have a 16, you got to upgrade to the next one, and I'm on a Pro version. As I do more of these blogs, I'll teach you about pros and so on and so forth, and we'll talk about all the programming, so on and so forth. But at the bottom of the sequence editor, because these are only just my LEDs or incandescent light, here are the pixels here. Pull that to the bottom. So all of my props outside the trees and the arches and not the arches, but the gutters and the windows, they're all residing here. There they go. Okay. So how I found out that I was running overlapping, how the overlap process worked, I just double clicked and bingo, it started to give me a layout. And I found this by accident. So I said, okay, hey, what's this? Clicked here, and sure enough, it told me what channels. The trees, not a big deal, but let's go to the garage window. Right there. So it says, hey, you have exceeded your maximum number of 170 channels. So we're going to take channel number 2 and we'll put another 52 down there. But remember, I'd already started using channel 2 for let's say right here it says south window. So one of these windows I'd already programmed or plugged in lights for on channel 2. Be mindful, I'm saying channel 2, but I named that box starting at channel 25. So technically the next channel would be channel 26. Well, I already had one of these windows plugged into channel number 2, which is really 26, and that's why I said, hey, you're sharing, you cannot share. And I didn't understand what that meant until now, and I found that error because I was in the pixel editor, of which I just opened, and I would go into my show and I would open it. Remember, back then it was saying practicing learning pixels 2018. Now it says Rouse Family. And here's another sequence that I tried to learn, and so I'll do that in 2019. So when I would open it, takes a second because I have a lot of data that's in there. There it goes. And so I would say, okay, hey, I want to do some work because I'm always programming. This is my and I said go into modify, and so it would bring that up. And then right when so let's say if I just picked something arbitrary, let's just take don't want that here. I'll just take the arch that's immediately above the garage window. This one over here. This one here. We looked at it. This one here. Okay. And double click. Grab number 2. Crap. All right. And then, so let's say I was done with it. I'm going to click save. And then I would say, okay, hey, save. And right before you leave here, you can go into info. Info is going to tell you, and there they are. They're saying, hey, you're 26, you're sharing. You cannot share. Don't fall off the, there you go. You can't share. So I was okay with, remember, 25 went to 170, and then it moved everything down to channel 2 right here, which is, 26. I explained in my box is 25. And here, all the circuits. I can't share these, but now I know why and how that's happening, and I know how to fix it for next year. So you gave me a warning. Remember, sequence editor right here. Boom. I clicked right here. There's the problem. Garage window, I exceeded when I hit the 170 mark. It can no longer just be one channel. And I'd already allocated one of these windows for channel 2, which is 26. That would be channel 1, 2, and subsequent. And that's where the problem came from. But I learned. I'm excited that I learned. I just want to bring back up Pixel Editor, this one here, because that's where it told me, hey, you can't share those. And there you go. What's the problem? Why? Whatever you put on channel, wherever you're sharing channel, that primary data or the channel that's the primary, let me be clear. If I'm running an arch and it needs both channels and I have a window on channel number 2, that data is going to do the same thing. So the lights are going to do the same thing as a window arch. And you say, whoa, why is that acting funky like that? Because you duplicated or you overlapped into another channel. So that's something pretty cool that I learned. So I'm going to shut down the site. It is down, if you will. Real quickly, I purchased a high-speed dongle because it's up there. I couldn't get that brand new box to work, and there's another one from Holiday Cora that ran the dumb nodes, and I couldn't get either one of those to work. And and I can't tell you where that high speed. It's a red dongle, and as we do more programming, I'm sure I'll talk about that because I can't stop talking. All right. Garage is pretty insulated. The computer worked fine. It didn't freeze, and yeah, I know my workstation's messy. It's just I got to get better at that. My wife comes out here and she's like, "Clean this up." So I